Välkomna till en onlineprovning med Tryffelsvinet som vi har längtat efter otroligt mycket. Eller hur, Nikita?
Verkligen. Det här ska bli så kul.
Det är jag som är Anna Rönngren och som sagt vid min sida har jag Nikita. Och vi har ju då jag höll på att säga hemlig gäst, men han är inte så hemlig egentligen, utan vi har ju Philipp Kuhn med på länk idag.
Ja, och det ska bli så kul för oss att äntligen få introducera Philipp Kuhn till er, som vi ju ändå har mejlat ganska mycket om senaste året. Och inte minst nu i samband med det här projektet, vår lilla kupp som vi kallar den, där vi vill få in Pinot Noir Tradition på hyllan. Det här är ett projekt som kommer pågå ända till augusti. Så att det här är inte det sista som händer, kan vi väl säga.
Men vi tyckte helt enkelt att eftersom vi har pratat så himla mycket om Philipp så vill vi också visa hur han ser ut och låta honom berätta om sina viner själv. Philipp håller ju till i Pfalz i Tyskland som har de perfekta förhållandena, inte bara för Riesling som ju kanske är det man främst associerar med Tyskland, men också för Pinot Noir, den här otroligt svårodlade druvan, men som tack vare de många soltimmarna och den lite högre värmen just i Pfalz gör att Pinot Noir, eller spätburgunder som man säger där, blir så bra helt enkelt.
Verkligen.
Så vi ska tillsammans prova Riesling Tradition och Pinot Noir Tradition idag under ledning av Philipp. Och jag ska inte hålla er på halster längre, utan vi ska se till att släppa in Philipp. So, hi Philipp, nice to see you today.
Hi you both, you're looking fine. Hello
Thank you.
Anna, hello Nikita.
So we just wanted to know, we read a lot about the frost, especially in France. How is it with frost situation in Pfalz? Are you also affected?
For the moment it seemed to be that we are on the lucky side. We are not so far in the development of the plants of the wines outside. So we haven't any young green and we hope that nothing is damaged. But the new green is in a kind of wool and maybe we had some damages, but for the moment it looks not so worse. So I'm with my French and Italian colleagues. What I heard about this is really dramatically. They have a great loss and we are with them. I can understand what they feel now.
Yeah, so are we. We really hope that you will be all right. But we have a lot of other producers in regions that are affected, and a lot of our feelings are going.
Of course.
So what is happening right now in the vineyards for you then? We know that you were bottling a couple of weeks ago when we last talked to you. What is happening right now?
I'm now on a really basic work. I'm outside in the fields. Maybe you see I'm a little bit brown.
Yes,
we have a lot of sun here. And we plant new vineyards. Yeah, we have now in the moment 1.5 hectares, which means 9,000, round about 9,000 plants, digging holes in the soils, making the fences around against the wild pigs, deer, and rabbits. They also like wine. And we have to water the new plants, and every vineyard I installed in the past I was with, and it's for me a really important thing because you must know a vineyard stands 40, 50, 80 years, and when you make mistakes in the beginning, it's really sad then for the future, and so it's the chef has to be with.
And you don't have to go to the gym right now, I guess.
No.
You work out your arms.
No, in generally, I don't go to the gym. In the past, I was a handball player. I played 35 years handball.
Wow.
And believe me, I have a lot of walks in my winery and outside in the fields. So I don't need any gym. No.
What grape variety are you planting?
What do you think? It stands in front of you. It's only Riesling and Pinot Noir, our two main grapes, of course. This is a good piece of land in the neighborhood village in so-called typical German name Groß Karlbach, which much consonants in. And it's a very limestoney soil, and of course very warm. And of course we plant there Riesling and Pinot Noir.
And just to give some context, when can you start harvesting from these vineyards to start making wine?
So the first 3 years, when everything goes the right way, we have enough water, that's the main fact. Then you got the first grapes, but this is really less. And the quality is also less because we have not so much roots down in the soils. And it's not the super quality grapes. So we put these grapes, the first grapes, in the normal quality. But I would say after 5, 6, 7 years, it's a little bit more serious, and you can make a wine with a better quality out of these young grapes, not grapes, young wines. And after 7 years, I think it should be right, and the roots are down, maybe 7, 10 meters, and then you can make really serious wine. So you see, it's a really slow process, and you have to right view in the future. It's not like any vegetables you plant in the earth. This vineyard should hold over many decades.
So it would be quite fair to say that it's definitely an investment for the future, not something that you will get paid back tomorrow.
It's a really far away future, yes. And the costs are really high. The plants are expensive. The whole installation is expensive. The posts, steel posts, the wire, the fences, all the construction, it's expensive, yes.
So Philipp, you know about our wine club members, and our wine club members for sure, they know about your wines. So can you please tell us a little bit about you, about Philipp, and about Weingut Philipp Kuhn?
Yeah, okay, fundamental question. How much time we have? 1 day? Okay, just kidding. No. The winery, it's named on the label Philipp Kuhn, but and I'm for the moment the owner, but I'm not the founder of this winery. All the males in the family were called Philipp Kuhn, and the really founder was my grandpa, and he installed this agricultural farm, which was in general founded in the late 17th century as an agricultural farm. They had nearly everything, like potatoes, vegetable, fruit, corn, pigs, cows, chickens, and so on. And they have their own source on their farm, so they doesn't need really anything around this. They consume for themselves. And what they don't have eaten, they sell on markets. So it was a really good solution against any kind of pollution, because they make no dirt. What they produce, they eat. Of course, it can't go on like this. And my father was it who installed this agricultural farm after World War II as a pure winery. And he started in the middle of the 50s with around about 7 hectares of winelands, and make this going on till to the 90s. He builds up a good private clients, restaurants, but only in Germany, not worldwide, only in Germany, of course. And I came up in the late 80s as a really young boy. I was 16 years old, and I had to decide for myself how it's going on. My father became sick, and but it needs only, I think, 2 seconds to think about. And I said to him, I took over the family running business. Oh, wow. And so he said, oh, it's fine. I'm very proud of you. Let's start. And he gave me a piece of land in our super beloved Kirschgarten, the best site in Laumersheim. And he said to me, you can plant what you want inside there. And I said, I would like to have Pinot Noir in this. And he said, okay, let's do it. And this was the beginning of my little story. So with 16 years, it was 1988, planting a vineyard with Pinot Noir in the Kirschgarten. Did you
ever regret this decision?
No. No, I saw my father as a kind of idol. Everything what he does, I like it. He was his own chef in any part of his job. He was his farmer, he was his winemaker, he was his office guy and everything. And he every time said to me, you pay your tax, that everything where the state talks with you, and the rest you can do you for your own. And so I'm not the guy who wants to have instruction from another. So I'm my own little dictator or king or president. Don't know how to explain. So I was responsible since 1992 for the winemaking processes and for nearly everything. And I took over the family running winery. And now in between 30 years, we come from 7 hectares to now 40 hectares roundabout. We have half white, half red wine in our winery. And the most important grapes are Riesling, of course, and Pinot Noir. These are the grapes which adapt our climatic condition very perfect. And it's directly connected with typical German wine growing, especially Riesling, but now upcoming more and more Pinot Noir as an alternative to Burgundy, to the much expensive Burgundy. And we have now in between a really good fan area all over the world. So the wine is not only resting in Germany, it's a little bit spreading all over the world, especially these 2 grapes. Yeah.
Now, Philip, when you're talking about the climatic conditions, maybe we should just show the map that you sent us, so we can put that into context for the wine club.
I hope you can see this, Philip.
Yeah. Here, for those who don't know where we are located in Germany, we are in the southwest corner. There is a red arrow on this area. This is the area called Pfalz. Is one of the biggest German wine areas with around about 25,000 hectares. This violet area over it, it's called Rheinhessen. It's the same amount of hectares. And I'm directly on the border between these 2 wine regions, between Rheinhessen and Pfalz. And so you can imagine I'm in the epicenter of German wine growing, which means it's almost half of the whole German wine growing amount. It's 50,000 hectares. This is the north of Pfalz. What is typical is, this is so-called the limestone strip of my region and especially of Germany. And when you have an overview over the wine regions in the world, everywhere where is limestone rocks inside the ground, it's a very famous wine area, like Burgundy, like the Champagne, like Chablis, what else? Northern parts of Italy. These are all areas based on limestone, and I'm the lucky guy who have this limestone as my home soil, and I'm able to produce wine on it. Here is a typical landscape of my region. You have behind the wine fields this Pfälzer Wald. It's called Palatinate Forest. It's the biggest connected forest area in Germany, directly on the border to France. And this is responsible for the cold air flowing down to the Rhine River valleys. And this is the part who gives harmony in often really warm summers. It's a kind of cold lung, to speak in pictures. And in front of this, yeah, you see here, this is my village Laumersheim. You see the church tower. And 5 kilometers from here, you have this Rhine River Valley. And these are the two facts. In the front, you have the Rhine River Valley, the really warm area, which is really hot in summertime, and the warm air climbs up the small hill slopes, the wine fields you see here. And in the back, you have this cold lung called Palatinate Forest, which is really a good area to wander around. And I only can invite you to have a visit here in Pfalz. We have everything, good restaurants. In almost every small village is a good restaurant. You have this big forest area. You can wander around. There are nice huts. You can eat regional products. And it's a really nice landscape, which is called the Tuscany of Germany.
Wow.
And also the guys living there are very friendly. Yeah, it's every time we have a mixture of cultures here. We have French influence, from Italy, much influence. The wine culture was brought by the Romans 2000 years ago. They installed here cellar stations and make good wines over there in the past. And so you can imagine this is really different from the rest of Germany. Here, this is the typical soils we have, the hidden secret in the ground, these limestone rocks, which are the pale part in this profile. On the top, you see the fertilized surface, but this is not so much. And you see some parts of roots in there. And the wine has to go through these really heavy rocks and takes out the charismatic things, the mineral and salty things. Here's our cellar building where a lot of barrels are stored. We have more than 1,500 barrels because this kind of French style of making wine is to major the wine in such smaller oak barrels.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a kind of fast run through my winery. Okay.
Should we start trying? Because seeing all those pictures, they made me really thirsty.
I have already this wine in my glass.
Perfect. I will pour for you, Nikita.
Thank you very much. So we have the Riesling Tradition. Would you like to just quickly take us through the winemaking, how it's made?
Yeah, it's a very traditional winemaking. We believe in traditional methods, not in super modern methods. Every grape is handpicked. It's a very important fact because only when you get the healthy grapes, you can produce high quality wine. The machine isn't able. And we make wine growing near the polar circle. So we have not a super fine autumn with summer feelings and only pure sun. No, we have some fog inside and some rain over there, and we have to select the berries to get this richness in fine aromas and these mineral notes, this saltiness of the wine. Yeah, Riesling is the most typical grape for my region, Pfalz, and by the way, it's Pfalz is the most biggest wine area in Germany, where Riesling grows. I think it's about 9,000 hectares or something like that. I'm not the statistics guy.
But it's harvested by hand, and then...
Yeah, we have a maceration of 12 hours, and then we press it very gently. And after this, we have only a short moment of sedimentation because we want to get terp or cloudy in the fermentation, because we only work with spontaneous fermentation, so only natural yeast, and this is the secret. And Riesling adapts this like no other varieties. Riesling is screaming for this natural fermentation. So no added juice. We have a warm fermentation, about 22, 24, 5 degrees to get this spontaneous fermentation to an end, because we have only dry wines in our winery, and or almost dry wines, 99.9%. The rest, the sweet wine we produce is only for my mother-in-law to keep her calm. So only dry wines, and we need a fast fermentation to get the wines dry. And we let the Riesling stay on the complete yeast directly before the bottling. And we have...
For how long is that?
For this tradition, it's around about half a year. Then
and so steel tank, right? No oaks.
Yeah, this tradition is only steel tank to get no influence of any bin, of any wood. It's the pure juice, and in the end, the pure wine without any influence. It's kept away from any kind of air. Oh, I have to... yeah. Was there a break inside now?
No, it's fine.
Okay, because I have some connection problems here, but everything fine.
Fine.
So without air, to get this freshness and these fine aromas.
How, Philip, would you describe the aromas and the flavors?
Yeah, it's very yellow aromas in there. It's a kind of, how to say, it's a kind of apricots, vineyard, peach, is it right?
Yeah.
Quince,
yeah.
Something like that. So it's a very juicy and friendly style. It's a kind of fun-loving Riesling. The acidity is not so high like most of Riesling drinkers suppose to be. This is also typical for Pfalz. It's not so high in acidity, and this makes Riesling so successful out of my region. It's complex, full-bodied, rich in the palate, but only 11.5 alcohol. And this is a really important fact for modern wine consuming. It's a good partner without anything. When you have fun and you want to have a sip of wine, when you have friends in there and want to have a nice evening, but also with any kind of lighter food. So it's a good food pairing with this wine. Asian food with this kind of residual sugar. It's about 4 grams roundabout. It's lovely, it's gentle, but it's dry. And you feel the saltiness of the limestone. You feel these mineral notes. And this makes a kind of mosaic with a lot of parts which make the wine so friendly and so successful in the end. It's our most important wine we have in our Riesling portfolio.
Every time I get to try this wine, I'm always so blown away by the quality, because as you said, this is your, I wouldn't say basic Riesling, but it is, and it's so serious, and it's so quality driven, and it's so complex and balanced. So if I were to try this blind and someone were to say, okay, so what would you pay for this? I would gladly say double, because it's so complex and it's so fine tuned, and it's just the salinity, the acidity, everything is in where it's supposed to be. And I think you described it very well with all these aromas, but it's, for me, it's one of my favorite wines in the portfolio, just because it's so complex.
It's complex, but it's still very, very drinkable. Yeah. And one of the things that I really feel when I taste this wine is that it has this complete harmony. You've got the acidity, as you say, Philip, it's not one of the highest in Germany, but it's still Riesling, so it's still higher than many other grape varieties. But then you also have the minerality, and you have the nice fruits that you described, and then that is met with this super, super nice creaminess that's coming from the aging that you have in your lees, which puts this wine into complete harmony. Anna, do you want to talk a little bit more about food pairings?
I think you said it quite well, but if we were to go for some classic Swedish dishes that we can make you when you come to Sweden next time, Philip, it's, I would say, skavenröra. So every kind of, it's a very classic dish with shrimps and mayonnaise and dill and lemon. It's super lovely, and we'll make sure you try it next time you come. But I would certainly go for seafood and sushi, as you said. And this is a wine that I would be comfortable to serve with almost everything, because it won't ruin any dish. It's so food friendly. But I would, to go for the perfect pairing, I would go for more like the fish and the seafood and salmon. We have so great salmon here in Sweden. So that's certainly where I would go. And we all know that you recently won the Riesling champion, right, for the 4th time.
Yeah, the 4th time.
Why?
Yeah, and of course, thank you for these compliments. It's true, but it's true. I'm sorry, but it's true. And this wine especially has, as my entry level of Riesling, has last year the 91 Parker points, by the way. Wow. So in between, Parker also recognized the high quality of German dry Riesling, and yeah, we are proud of this.
You should be.
Another short explanation about this, we have a long Riesling tradition here, and we every time plant on our best sites the Riesling grapes. So it's also a kind of mosaic of our typical sites. We have this limestone, we have some parts of quartz sand, and we have some parts of löss, and this mixture makes it in the end so complete and so rich in every direction. Yeah.
So Nikita just poured the second wine, and in regards to that, we actually received a question from one of the wine club members, and that is, what makes your Pinot Noir stand out from other German Pinot Noirs, in your opinion?
Yeah, I have my red. But by the way, Pinot Noir is not, you can't say red wine to Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir is an own group. There are, in the end, 4 groups. It's white wine, rosé wine, red wine, and Pinot Noir. This as a short explanation in the beginning. But what makes my Pinot Noir outstanding? How I said in the beginning, I started my Pinot Noir career as I was 16 years old in 1988. And in these times, no one wants to have red wine from Germany. It was almost pale, sour, thin, and almost sweet. So in these times, me as a young guy and some others which were only maybe 10 winemakers, make a kind of red wine revolution in Germany. We look over the border, of course, to France. I'm not able to travel in these times because I have to help my father at home, but I buy me the good wine. In these times, much cheaper than today. The names out of Burgundy like Rousseau, Rumier, and so on. I buy the bottles and I educate my tongue and I think about how they do this. And later on, when I spend my holidays, I visit a lot of wineries. So I sharpen my thinking and my tongue concerning Pinot Noir. And the most important fact is that we plant the Pinot clones out of Burgundy. Not anymore the German clones, which were more bigger. They have more bigger berries. So the structure was missing in the German clones. It's good for sect, for sparkling, but not for red wine. So we plant this in the beginning of the 19th, and we go down with the yields. We have only 3,500 liters per hectare. So you can imagine a grape of a Burgundy Pinot is like a baby's fist. Yeah, it's not bigger. And so we get the richness later on in the structure in the wines. We have a typical French process of winemaking. This is storing in bigger open barrels. We have a remontage, a pump over 1-2 times a day. We store it in French barrels, the small ones you have seen on a picture in the beginning. We let it on the yeast, no racking, storage time of 2 years. We bottle without fining, without egg white, without filtration. It's pure dry, bone dry. Yeah, it's a very traditional French style of making Pinot Noir. But by the way, Pinot Noir Burgundy, it's the basement, it's the fundament, it's the home of Pinot Noir. And so, of course, we adapt this, but connected with our climatic conditions. We are lucky that we have the limestone inside. You see on the map, and Burgundy is 500 kilometers down in the Rhone Valley. We are 500 kilometers to the north in the Rhine River Valley, but the soils are the same and the climatic conditions are almost the same. They have near to the Alps, which make a kind of cold lung. We have the Palatinate forest, which makes the harmony in the climatic conditions. And nowadays, with the climatic change, this cooled climate is more than an advantage than a disadvantage.
We actually had a couple of questions from Wine Club members regarding the climate change. So do you think you have to adopt a lot for that, or is it beneficial for you?
In the beginning, I was a little bit blue-eyed. I have no thoughts about climatic change. I was impressed by the quality of, for example, Cabernet Franc, Merlot, and so on. I love to drink Bordeaux too. And so I make some experiments with these grapes. And nowadays we make all our red wine blends out of these grapes. And I would say it was the right decision, but more blue-eyed than focused on this climatic change, you know.
But would you say that you've adopted? Have you changed how you work in the vineyard or in the winery? Otherwise, in regards to Pinot Noir and Riesling, for example, due to climate change?
Yeah, in the early times of Pinot Noir, we were really near to the polar circle. The French colleagues were laughing about this. What, you will do Pinot Noir? It's too cold there. Nowadays it has changed, yeah, and this means also what is responsible for the success of good German Pinot Noirs, yeah, the climatic change, of course, yeah. It's not only the clones and the vinification. This may be too, but you don't know exactly. Yeah, maybe it was also possible 100 years ago. For me, I can't imagine.
Yeah. It's very difficult.
But to answer your questions, yes, we go a little bit higher in the altitude of our vineyards. When you have now, or in earlier times, planted Riesling, we go down near the valley where it was really warm. Now you go with new plantings up to the hill, right, to hold this cool climate conditions, to save our typical style of Riesling. And this is an important fact. But what makes me more scary is the less of rain. Before we have less rain, we have only 500 liters per year, and nowadays it became less and less and less and less, and this makes me really scary, yeah. And we have a lot of problems with hail, stormy weather, strong winds. This is also symbols for climatic changes, of course. Yeah.
I know that you are certified fair and green. Is that your way of helping the environment due to these climatic changes? Can you tell us a bit about that?
Of course, it's everyone can help, and for everyone these should be small steps. I cannot change anything. I produce a product, and if you produce a product, you make dirt. In any way you make dirt. But how much dirt you produce, this is the important question. And what for dirt you produce, this is also another important question. And these are for me small steps. We collect energy over photovoltaic. We save rainwater for our spraying. We have electromobility in our winery for our workers, and such small things. We make a lot of things to support biodiversity. We have green sowings every year, different green sowings. We avoid chemical fertilizers. This is catastrophic. What mineral fertilizers make a kind of gas going in the air. It's more poisoned like CO2, for example. And we avoid this since 15 years. We have no herbicides, no insecticides. And nowadays we try to classify ourselves officially, before not, but now officially to go the biological way too.
Right.
Because I'm far away from my consumers. In earlier times, I can communicate this, but now my wine is standing in some stores, and there are a lot of wines. And what do the consumers do? They go in, there's no consulting anymore, and they look on the bottle. This is classified for a sustainable association. This is classified or certified biological. The consumers need such labels. And before I was a little bit away, but now I'm doing this biological sign too. Mm-hmm. By the way, we do it the years before, but not certified. Mm-hmm. I want to have a kind of life insurance. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
This was the only fact. Because of wine growing near the polar circle, it's not so easy like in Southern Europe, in France or somewhere else, mm-hmm. where the sun is every day shining. Here is more the nature is more cruel here.
Yeah, fair enough.
But you can't taste the cruelness of nature when you taste this wine, because this, for me, is also such a serious but still such a juicy wine. I really, really enjoy this too, just to get back to the tasting notes, so we don't forget about talking about this truly, truly lovely wine. It's I'm very proud of the project we are doing with this wine, because it's so nice. So Nikita, what do you feel on the palate and on the nose when you smell this?
For me, it's very much on the very fruity side, and then it's backed up with really nice hints of spiciness, and you've got a little bit of the wood as well. Just not too much. It's just there to keep the wine. It gives it a very serious body. So it has this juicy upfront fruitiness on the nose that hits you immediately, and then it's backed up with a little bit of spiciness, with a little bit of those oak, and it has, for me, it has very, very fine tannins, which is absolutely something that's telling that the wine is of high quality grapes. And then again, the acidity, very fresh, very all the way through the wine.
Which also makes it very good to pair with different kinds of food, because you have the acidity, you have the backbone, and you have the structure, meaning that you can go quite a lot of different ways when pairing it to food. I wouldn't go on the heaviest of food, because that might take over the elegance in this wine. But you know, all kind of duck and chicken and
lamb.
Nice with maybe some mushrooms.
Yes,
Yeah.
Pinot Noir and mushroom, yes, for sure. And but also drinking it as it is.
Yeah, it's very nice. Just maybe a small piece of cheese, maybe a little bit of Gruyere.
Yeah.
And I know that you received like 90 points for this one too from James Suckling. So you always receive good scores, but this one also.
And by the way, we won 10 times the German Red Wine Award.
Really?
You see? Yeah, really, yeah. But for all varieties, but for 4 times for Pinot Noir.
Yeah.
So you see, our focus is,
It's such an intelligent choice being made by a 16-year-old. When I was 16, I don't know what I was doing. not making this kind of decisions anyway.
Yeah, as a young boy, I was definitely outside in the vineyards, and not forced to be, but I saw, and I support my parents, and I like this, to being outside, work in the vineyards, have a super cool product. And by the way, I was about 12, 13 when I go to my first wine fest here in town.
Perfect.
It's in my blood.
Yeah, of course.
Not when I drive.
That's good.
But in general, yeah. When you grow up with this, it's normal.
Where I grew up, it was more, you made your own moonshine, more like. So it sounds like a dream to live within the vineyards as a 12, 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old. But you are truly a visionary, and that's really the testament to it, I would say.
And there's no standing still. Yeah, the emotion goes further, the heart beats further, and there's no still standing in winemaking or in a process. Like I said, for the future, it goes in the direction connecting biological ways to sustainable ways, to think about our environment, because without my vineyards, I'm nothing. And this is the fundament of everything. And we want to save these soils, and we have to be more careful with our environment.
That we do.
Not only as a winemaker, for everyone.
Absolutely, we as well. We have to be very, very cautious with what we choose and how we consume. Absolutely. So I think the time is about up.
I would love to talk about, sorry, a bit more. I've had so much wine now.
Yeah, it's getting late.
But I saw Anna, you spit a little bit. I'm not.
She pretends.
You saw I had to pour more in the glass, or I just pretend to drink Denna.
Yeah, you have bigger glasses.
Exactly. No, but Philipp, thank you very much for your time. We've had a blast tasting with you.
Yeah.
I hope all the Wine Club members have enjoyed meeting you in this special way.
Yeah.
It's the best we can do under the circumstances that are what they are.
It's super. It's super for me because I can sit here on the top. I have my best shirt, and here I have to show my working shoes.
Very good. Perfect.
My working shoes under the table, because I now go outside in my vineyard and check if everything is fine.
Yeah, so that's what you're doing next. You're going into the vineyards now?
Yeah, of course, yeah, because they are still doing this job I explained in the beginning, and I have to look if that the rows are straight, not like this.
So you will do that, and me and Nikita, we will see you on Instagram in a few moments, because there we will do the classic utlottning. I don't know the English word for that. Well, we actually have 10 very beautiful wine openers that Philipp sent us with the Philipp Kuhn logo. So we will have 10 lucky winners on Instagram next, and we will also reveal the theme for our next online tasting. But I don't know if we will top this, because this was wonderful, Philipp.
Yeah, we'll see. Thank you
very much
again.
Next time live in Sweden.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you for joining, and stay healthy.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Cheers.
Cheers.